for Jamin, you can tell he has a passion for firearms. He owns 100 Colt firearms.
Probably more.
Plus. And I'm thinking plus.
Yeah. I remember I had to count them at one point. I think it's more.
A lot of them are transferable.
But the passion, his passion is what gets him up in the morning. And Jamin is knee deep with the engineers, with ideas all the time. And you can tell the excitement. And Jamin will send me pictures and he's like, look at this. And I mean, he loves
like the X57 project, which is probably our biggest project so far right now in development, was in the middle of the night. I woke up, I was like, we could take the rock. We could develop it into like a PDW style gun. So I got up, instead of going to Dunbar where I usually start my day, I went to Ferris and I saw Max and Stacy and I was like, or Hunter and Mac. I was like, hey guys, look at this.
What do you think?
So, and they're just, brilliant young engineers.
Hungry, want something
and
new.
they started working on it.
Yeah.
With a month, we had a working prototype we were shooting.
Yep.
And, we take that to the SHOT Show, and the same excitement that we had, the people have. Like,
100%.
holy cow, this is great. And like I said, without the engineering and R&D, you just can't bring that. And you look at an industry, it's like, even the car industry, it stagnates for a couple of years, and then all of a sudden all kinds of cool new stuff came. Well, that cool new stuff is coming because someone is driving it.
Someone's pushing
and
the
so
envelope.
if you're looking at joining our team, we're still, if you're engineer with a lot of good ideas, we love to have you.
I mean, I think that was the whole reason why we did the Aberdeen project, right? I mean, was we wanted to show that, hey, we want you guys on board with us. We're trying to go to the future. We're trying to be at the forefront and have these conversations of pushing us forward.
And what makes us unique is, those conversations are being had in SIG's military division right now and at FN's military division, right? We're trying to have them because we want to spread freedom. And so we're trying to do them with a focus on having the civilian market having the coolest, latest and greatest new toys so they can be free. And so that is really the difference between us. We're focused on the civilian market and spreading freedom. I'm not saying FN and Colt aren't, and SIG aren't also, but they really focus the majority of their time because they're funded by the government to do this. They get grants. We don't want grants from the government because we don't want the strings. We just want to spread freedom.
So we're over here at our Ferris Engineering facility where we're making a lot of new prototypes and a lot of new parts. And today I'm here with Tom Victa, who we're going to touch base on our Aberdeen project and go in a little bit more in depth of what the Aberdeen project is. So Tom, tell us a little bit about what the Aberdeen project is and what we're trying to achieve by starting the Aberdeen project.
Yeah, so I'm sure you guys talked about it a lot already. PSA is all about spreading freedom, right?
That's right,
So the R&D team, we created a project called the Aberdeen Project, really to talk about how do we spread freedom through new products and innovation. As you guys have seen with all the videos you've been pushing out, we're working on a lot of new concept guns, and what we're doing is trying to attract all the top talent to help us put products like these into production.
So the goal of the Aberdeen is to bring more talent in and help us be able to create, innovate more and get it to market faster, so that way we can still be out there and talking to our customers and showing us new products, right?
Absolutely. So as you know, we're always listening to our customers, trying to give them what they want fast.
Yes.
And speed is the name of the game here at PSA. So what we're trying to do is bring those new products to continue to attract the interest and spread freedom. And what that's actually caused a lot, and you guys can see a little bit in the background, is these guys just want to be part of the team.
Yeah.
And when you come out with a bunch of new concept guns like this, I mean, the joke was years of innovation in one SHOT Show. And I mean, we'll talk about products like this later. This was an idea, 40 days before.
Well, that's what I mean. So that's what I think is so cool about what we're doing here and what we're trying to do with the Aberdeen project is that we are able to take an idea and get it to proof of concept, or proof of life, in other words, right? And get it to a functioning firearm in a little amount of time because of what we're trying to do and how we have our structure set up, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. And you see that here, right? This is where we started at SHOT Show.
Yeah.
Essentially, 40 days before, and now we're iterating, working on the different concepts so that we can get everybody on board with how are we going to manufacture this. That's what's great about the team that you guys are going to see here in a minute with the manufacturing right here. We've got the engineers here. We're 3D printing new iterations. Some of these have dates on it because we're literally rolling new concepts every single day.
And that's the really cool thing about what we're trying to do here is the way that it's set up at Ferris and with your team here, you have all the tools in the building to be able to have an idea, and get it out there and really see it and 3D print and do that. And that's a really cool thing that we have now is with these 3D printers is the ability to come up with a new CAD drawing and like, hey, let's see it in person. Let's do this. So it's really cool. So when you on a daily basis meet with your team, do you guys sit down and do a design review, or like how does that work to come up with like an idea to getting a proof of life?
So, what we really try to do is listen to the customers, right? And that's when we work with you and your team a lot, as far as what should we be working on, how are we working on them, and then testing out those ideas. So similar to the SHOT Show voting, right? We're gonna have 100 ideas.
Yep.
Well, maybe only 10 of them are good.
Yep.
Well, some people maybe 5 of them are good.
Touche.
But how do we work together and continue to iterate and iterate and iterate as fast as we can to make sure we're working on the ones that the customers want. And you're seeing that with the product updates and everything.
Correct. And I think the really cool thing too is that we took this to SHOT Show, right? But then we got some feedback at SHOT Show where people were like, hey, I like this, but I don't like this, right? And then we come back and we take that information and, like your point, we do truly listen to the customer because we're in here and just like you see on the table here, there's multiple different prototypes that we took from the information from the customer and we're able to bring in here and test it out, right?
Absolutely.
So that constant feedback loop from our customer and what we're trying to achieve here is kind of going into what the Aberdeen project is truly trying to achieve.
Absolutely, and it's really about getting those people to come in, work on these new products, to spread innovation, to create that fire for those new products and get people interested so that we can continue to spread freedom for years to come.
So now with the Aberdeen project, is that just about engineers or is that like other type of product and different types of mindsets that we're trying to hire with this?
And we've seen this a little bit, and some of the guys maybe watching this video have applied. We're looking for engineers, manufacturing engineers, quality guys, people that are helping us forecast out and bring these new products into production.
So it's like almost like a go-to-market type mindset where it's like it's not just about the design, right? Because if you design the gun, you still need to get it into production. You still need to go through it, do the testing, right?
You need to do the videos, the marketing, all those things have to go hand in hand. And as we continue to pour gas on the R&D, we're going to need to continue to scale up on the other areas as well.
Yeah, so they're all linked together. So at the end of the day, we can innovate all we want, but if we can't get it to the market, then we can't provide it to the customer. So,
absolutely.
And at the end of the day, the goal of the Aberdeen project, from what I'm understanding, from what you're saying, is hey, we got an idea. Let's prove it out, let's design it, let's get some feedback on it, then let's take it to the next level and try and get it into production by having an additional support system that we're trying to bring in through the Aberdeen project.
Absolutely. If we can continue to, spread freedom through that innovation and through those cross-functional teams, that's what Aberdeen's really all about.
The first gun of the Aberdeen project is what we're calling Project X, correct?
Correct.
And so this is the X57 we took to SHOT Show. So go into a little bit of where this came from and how this originated.
Well, I mean, the funny story is, we move fast as we can, but you take a 5.7 rock and you throw a jackal upper on it, and Jamin goes, but why not? Why not? And, we say no a few times, and then you know what? We're like 40 days out from SHOT Show, and you say, hey, you know what? Let's give it a shot.
Yep.
And so what the guys did, and this is the SHOT Show gun that you guys probably saw a lot of videos on, but this is hey, let's slap something together and see how it works. Let's get that customer feedback. So we built this in, a few short weeks.
That's crazy.
This is actually a shootable prototype. Got it out at SHOT Show, and we're like, we'll see how it goes. Number one.
Number one. Everyone voted. That was the number one by far on the concept gun poll that we did.
So we absolutely pivoted the team, and this is why we're always recruiting, trying to get more and more. But we pivoted the team and said, all right, hey, this was a twinkle in somebody's eye a little bit ago. It's the number one vote. All right, let's go. So now we've got 3 guys working on this on the design side, already iterating, working with the manufacturing engineers and the purchasing people and the quality guys to, hey, how do we take this twinkle, 40 days, get a concept, get a shooter, to actually get it into production. And we don't like talking about dates, but everyone's target is early next year.
Well, that's what I was going to ask you. So obviously within 30 or 40 days, we had a prototype to take to SHOT Show, right?
Absolutely.
So realistically, when we come down to it and we talk about a project, maybe not just the X57, but overall guns, from the day that we kind of have an inspiration, what is like a normal lead time to try and get it out to the market? Now, I know PSA is a little different than some of these other companies, right?
Absolutely.
But what is a realistic timeline that you want to throw out there that might say hey, X, Y, and Z months would probably take to get this into production?
So I can say like industry wide, right? So it's not uncommon to see 2, 3, 4 years.
Yeah.
What we try to do here, and this is how you're seeing the team grow out, is how do we go super fast?
Yeah.
Like literally drive all gas, no
Yeah,
brakes.
all gas, no brakes.
But get it to the point as we're getting ready for production and as we're getting into the testing, hey, now we got to slow our roll,
Yep.
slow things down, make sure we're ready to get into production. I mean, our target on this is breakneck speed. We're trying to go from SHOT Show to production in 12 months. Will we hit it?
Yeah.
We'll see.
Yeah.
But absolutely.
But that's a
the
goal. Yeah, that's awesome. So, I mean, essentially from a twinkle in the eye, 12 months later, we might have a gun out in production if, you know, all things go correctly like we expect it to.
Yeah, as we say, as if the stars align.
Stars align, yeah,
So
100%.
We're absolutely working with the manufacturing guys to get these into production now, at least in the prototype phases.
Yep.
So that we can be ready for end of the year testing, make sure everything's vetted so
Yep.
that we can be ready to take this to market.
So you're thinking maybe the goal would be to try and have it out sometime early next year, right?
That's absolutely the goal. And you know, that's what I love about the videos you guys are doing. We'll have product updates along the way.
Oh, well, good, good. I'm excited. I'm looking forward to see this. And then the next one that we did, a part of the Aberdeen project, is the 570 shotgun.
Absolutely.
Right. So let's touch base a little bit about that. So like, what was the idea behind bringing a shotgun to market? Because we're an AR and an AK company. Now we just recently got into polymer pistols, but now we're doing a shotgun.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at like what is the heart and soul of PSA, right? It all started with the AR.
Yep.
And what's great about the AR is you can kind of customize it and build it yourself.
Yep.
But if you look at big picture, if you're only going to own so many guns at your house, you're probably going to have an AR, you're probably going to have a duty gun like a dagger, and then you're probably going to have a pump shotgun.
Yeah, absolutely.
So how do you take that PSA spirit where you can take the gun that, if you're gonna have one gun, this is a great one gun.
100%.
Home defense, sporting, you name it, and make it the PSA model. So the idea behind the 570 is, you know, we'll have a universal receiver that takes furniture right out the gate, be able to build it yourself, to have all the modern features
Yep.
that someone would expect,
Yep.
like your optics ready, your customizable shot tubes, everything you might want, and the ability to customize it however you like,
So-
just like the ARs.
Yeah, so you're basically trying to mimic the exact same model that we did on AR-15
Absolutely.
onto a shotgun, where a customer out of the box, like, right, and it's 870 style furniture, right?
Yep. So 870 right out the box, and you know, one of the beauties of this one is that you can assemble it yourself.
Yeah.
At your house with very basic tools.
Which is a fun thing to do, and that's what our biggest customers are, as you know, is they want to build it. They want to have the flexibility to make it the way that they want, right? So to be able to have that on a shotgun is a game changer, right? I mean, the way
Absolutely.
you guys are working on this and designing this, the flexibility to have different shot tubes, the hanger system, the RMR cut footprint on the gun already, like, everything's there that the customer could want, and now they have the ability to build it the way they want because we're providing them the tools to be successful.
Yeah, absolutely. And you see it on this gun, right? Like, so this one has Magpul furniture, but we're also working with those industry partners to make sure, hey, you're gonna have all these accessories right out the gate.
So it's a big picture. So it's not just about what we're doing. We're also trying to loop all of our industry partners together so that way it's a unified front, because at the end of the day, it's about spreading freedom, right?
Absolutely.
And this is the way that we do it, right?
And you see it all the time, you know, certain states have more and more restrictions. This is how we spread freedom to every state in the union.
Yeah, because this is 50 state legal.
Absolutely.
That's awesome. Well, Tom, thanks again for coming on and talking about some of these guns and these cool projects we're working on. It's awesome to be a part of it. It's awesome to see how fast you guys are moving and how we're embracing the PSA spirit and just kind of keep spreading freedom every day. So thank you for your time.
Thanks for having us.
Appreciate it. So guys, what does the future hold for JJE and Palmetto State Armory?
To me, it's really about what the future holds for this country, right? So you're only given so much time. I'm 46 now, and I feel like I was 12 yesterday, and I'll be 70 before I know it. You're given a little bit of time on Earth. And what I look at is how can you affect the country for the better? And we really are at an impasse right now. But the nice thing as a country, and in relevance to freedom, I feel like we got so much freedom, probably the freest country ever in the history of the world. And then there's these natural things that get involved. You got bureaucracies, and you get large corporations, you get all these, they want to take your freedom. I mean, usually for the purposes of power and money, right? And they want to control you because they want to control your money, they want to control what you do. And I feel like the freest country in the world is really at an impasse. And for us, is to really, for my goals for JJE is to spread freedom. And whatever we can do over the decades that I have left and these guys, if we can get involved in these court cases and lobby and really, really press hard, I would love for our grandkids, great grandkids to live in a free country. And that's the thing. And we know eventually, tyranny will come to the world, right? But we don't want it to be in America, and we don't want it to be with our kids. So my goal would be to push any tyrannical event out as far as possible, make sure that the people are free. And if we do that, at the end of the day, I think that's a win.
So Julian, what about you?
What PSA holds for the future? I look at PSA and JJ as a national strategic asset. So what we've built and the people that we have assembled is of great value to this country. If the world ever falls apart, PSA will have a huge part in putting it back together. And I take a great deal of pride of being involved in that. And the people that we've put together have taken a great deal of pride in what we do. And it's what gets me up in the morning. It's an honor.
It's awesome. It's awesome. What about you, Ed? Big tough follow-up there. I'm
Oh,
ready to
man,
run through
yeah,
a
it's
wall,
like,
so let's go.
As being the older gentleman in the bunch, you look at it and never thought you'd be a part of something that's grown as well as it has. And like I said, what could the future hold? Really, we could do whatever we wanted to at this stage. But again, it's like the employees and stuff, working with you and the guys, and it's kind of some of the stuff I talked with Jamin about. Figure like Remington closing down that Elion plant, all those people, that was a community that started that. I feel like we have the new style of a community in the firearms industry. And I mean, that's huge. I mean, we don't sit back long enough sometimes to talk about it, or even recognize it, or drive by the place and say, look, all those people work for us, So, I mean, I think the vision is there's no end to the vision. I think we find what's the next step we can do and be successful at it. And not overextend ourselves and just keep enjoying it. I think it's stressful for all of us sometimes, but yeah, it's a challenge that's just been cool to be a part of. I mean, I enjoy working with these guys and you, other employees like you that now we feel like we've had some in the past that didn't quite want to be a part of the vision, but I don't think we have an employee today that isn't
such a great team,
part of the vision or want, to support it or put their 2 cents in, and it feels good, man. It does.
And, well, Ed, one of the things for the companies we've acquired is a lot of them, that's their company is their family, and they want to ensure the continuance of their family.
Right.
And when I look them in the eye and talk to them and say, I'm not a private wealth group out of Chicago that's coming here to bundle this together and sell it off. They understand that our vision and goals forward is not to bundle this together for a bunch of money and then sell it off. Our vision is to grow it and to grow freedom.
That's awesome.
We have never sold a company we bought.
Yeah.
It's just like our family. We just keep them.
That's awesome.
Keep adding to it. Yeah.
That's awesome. Let's talk about something that's new and exciting that not a lot of people know about yet. So obviously, Jamin, you are a big gun guy, right? So talk to me about what is opening up soon in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, that Ed is gonna have to be a part of constructing.
I really need to start working on this. I'm really good at buying the toys.
yeah. Hey, Ed, can you do this? No.
Yeah.
So tell me about the museum, man. I mean, this is all you got a lot of history and.
So there's so many guns as a kid growing up. You heard about the infamous Singer sewing machine 1911, and my mom was a seamstress and had a Singer sewing machine, right?
Yeah.
And so you hear about them, and you hear about, I was at Aberdeen Proving Grounds, and they had the museum. It's at Fort Lee now, I think, the Army Ordnance Museum. And I'd hang out there on the weekends, and the guy, he's on the History Channel a lot. He was the curator, and he would take me in the back, show me all this stuff, and all these guns that they seemed totally unobtainium when I was a kid. Now we have this company, it's we can kind of afford some of them. I think I buy too many. But we really like guns.
It's kind of like gold now. I mean,
I do appreciate it.
No, I mean, I remember some of them thinking oh boy, we probably shouldn't have bought that. Now they're worth 10 times what we paid.
Well, now
for.
there's also something you said, I wish I didn't sell that.
Yeah, we've had a couple of those.
Yeah.
Yeah, the only guns I get that bother me are the ones that I sold.
Yeah.
Because I hate the fact that I've sold a couple. I've always sold like 3 guns in my life, but I wish
But
I
you'll
had
never
enough.
sleep at night
I
knowing
know,
those are
right?
gone.
So I mean, it's like your kids. You
Yeah.
can't sell your kids, right? So we have a really nice collection, and Ed and Julian have been gracious enough, although without not some criticism, to let us purchase as part of our collection some of the really coolest guns. And these are guns from, you know, it's like the Star Wars blaster from the Star Wars The New Hope. We have that in the collection. To, I mean, some like crazy historic guns that, you know, and again, I don't want to give away all of the guns, but it's going to be at Myrtle Beach. I'm hoping to get it open soon, but you know, life sort of, we're
Yeah, it
building all
happens.
these other companies.
Yeah.
But when we have it open, it'll be the coolest. And some of the guns are like super interactive. Like, I'll give you an example of one. We have this gun, is Colonel Lutz's gun. So Colonel Lutz was a pilot, and we have all his gear. We have his gear, we have his dog tags, we have his boots, we have, you know, all his navigational maps, and it's part of his helicopter that he was flying. And so he lands in an LZ, and it is being overrun at the time. So he lands, and he's full board colonel, so he's getting ready to retire. So he lands, and there's this guy, this Vietnamese soldier, comes up with an AK-47, pulls the trigger on it, and instead of killing him, it goes click, and he hadn't chambered around. And so Colonel Lutz pulls out a 1911, shoots him, kills him, and then the gun's covered in blood, has like blood pitting and everything on it. So he grabs the gun, he jumps back in his helicopter, he flies back to the base, and he resigns his commission and says, I retire, right? And so, I mean, he's like, that's it, I'm done. So we have the history on Colonel Lutz, but he comes back with the gun, and he has the 1911 that he rescued the AK-47 with, and he sells it to a friend who's a dentist in Florida, right? And then the dentist passed away, and it's with his wife, and his wife sells it to someone. We have the serial number, we have everything. And so like one of the displays is this thing about Colonel Lutz and the story and all the gear, but we're trying to reunite that 1911 that helped liberate the AK with the display again. So we're gonna have, we'll have like a bounty on that gun.
Yeah.
And some of them are just so incredibly cool, and I don't want to give away everything, but the museum, it's a celebration of American freedom. It's a celebration of triumph over, Nazism, communism, just all kinds of different things, and I'm excited about it, and I'll be glad when it's open because it's a huge project, and it's in a really touristy area. So people, you come to, like, we live in Columbia, so we used to go to Myrtle Beach all the time for vacation. You can only go to Alligator Adventure and the big crab so many times, right, before you get tired of it. And I remember our son Jefferson, we used to go to Alligator Adventure, and he always liked blueberries. So like we go in Alligator Adventure, little gift shop, and he takes the alligator and he sticks blueberries in his mouth, and he squishes it, and there's like squish blueberries, and like we're never coming back here, like super. You can only do these touristy things so many times, and if you're wondering where it is, right by Broadway at the beach, by the Empire State Building with the gorilla on top.
914 Frontage Road.
Frontage
East.
Road. There you go.
It's the old Sun News building.
Yeah, it's not open yet. It's the second floor in the back of it. But when it's open, we'll make a huge announcement. We'll do a ton of videos. And I mean, some of the guns are like one of a kind pieces of American history.
And it's movie, it's telling a story,
Oh,
it's appreciation
yeah.
for our veterans, it's talking about what happened. It's a big deal.
So some of the areas are gangster, so you can only imagine what that is. You've got World War I, World War II, Vietnam, Korean War, global war on terror, and then you've got pop culture, which I think is the coolest stuff. And people are like, why do you guys buy it? It's just cool. The whole Angelina Jolie's Tomb Raider guns, it's just cool.
Yeah.
I know they're not
Han
historic.
Solo blaster.
Han Solo blaster. And you got
Ian helmet.
the Indiana Jones, this famous swordsman scene where swordsman comes out and he's flinging the swords around, and then he pulls out the revolver and shoots him. We got that revolver. We got just all kinds of cool stuff. So we're super excited about it. We will make an announcement when it's ready.
Recently, after SHOT Show, we just came out and we did a Supreme Court amicus brief with Cargill versus Garland. So talk to me more about how, on an everyday basis, we are going out there and we are not talking the talk, but we're actually walking the walk and putting our money where our mouth is to defending constitutional rights.
When you look at what's going on with the size and scope of the government, there's this new ruling just came out where basically if you sell a gun, you're in the business, and they close the gun show loophole by executive fiat, right? Well, that's not how this country works. There's a way to pass laws, and it's not by fiat. And if we don't stop it, I'm worried about this country. And they could next say, like, well, AR-15s are so dangerous, we're going to have to ban them, or, you name the law, whatever they want. It started with bump stocks, and then it went to pistol braces, and then it went to 80% receivers, and now it's this in the business, and, who can sell a personally owned firearm. And it's really, really dangerous. And we decided that, well, first of all, we've been lobbying to stop gun control for years. That's one thing. But because the liberals, and I say liberals, and I don't mean just Democrats, I mean there's liberals that are Republicans, the big government politicians, they have decided that since they can't get it through Congress, signed by a president, they're going to do it through the administrative state. And this administrative state, I've talked to them, they've sat in our conference room, and I've asked them, why would you want to take away someone's freedom? And why would you think you have the right to do that? And one of the comments is so brazen. It's just, this is what we think is best. Well, I don't care what you think is best. That's not the way laws work. And it's maddening. And so we decided to get involved in numerous cases. When the ATF or any other agency passes a law that limits freedom, we have been given the honor of the American people's business for whatever reason, and we value it, we appreciate it, we love it. The American people really have chosen us for their either PSA or you name the brand firearms needs. They've depended on us. I feel like that bears a certain amount of responsibility. If we're going to say we support the Second Amendment, then we really need to support the Second Amendment. And the thing is, 80%, the 80% rule, we don't sell 80% firearms, but we support your right to buy them, right?
For sure.
And then when it comes to the closing the gun show loophole, as it's referred to, which really means is you can't sell a personal firearm, that doesn't affect us because we're an FFL. But we support your right to exercise your freedom. So we're going in and we started, some of these cases are insanely expensive to get involved in, but we feel it's the leftist big government push has gone from trying to get laws passed through Congress to trying to force them in by executive fiat. And we are going to do everything it takes, every resource we have to make sure that that doesn't happen. And so far, we've had very good results. Yeah. And we have the Supreme Court case coming up. Supreme Court's agreed to hear, bump stock and 80% receivers. And we can't guarantee what the Supreme Court's going to do, but we're going to fight it the whole way.
Yeah, that's awesome. So, Julian, what is your take on what's going on out there right now? Why is it so important for you guys to not only defend the Second Amendment, but it's about everybody's constitutional rights?
So last month's newsletter that I write out to the company and pointed out that every group that's ever had an act of terrible genocide on them has been disarmed first. And I think it's very important to make sure that we're not the next group that gets taken advantage of by an organization.
Yeah, but I know what I think when I think we, and that's the American people.
Yeah.
Because we are the last bastion of freedom in this world, in my opinion. And I feel like if America falls and we turn into Europe or China or whatever, you think about people in China and Europe, they're in this little box, right? You can't be exceptional over there. You're just a number. Yeah. In America, you can be great. You can quit a job at a CPA firm and create a $1 billion company, right? That's awesome. We want the opportunity for everyone. But when they start limiting our freedom, I feel like they want you under their thumb, right? And they want to, and you're just data. You're just a social media user that they can affect what you can see on social media to affect what you think. And there's this weird thing where the global corporations have teamed up with the governments, and they want you to buy into a narrative. And if you don't fit into that narrative, then you're a bad person. You're an enemy. You're you call it insurrectionist, whatever you want to call it, right? But we want freedom of thought for everyone. We want everyone to be free. And I feel like we're at an impasse in this country where if we don't do something, and we do it through the court systems, it's going to get ugly. And we're not the only ones, but a lot of Americans are really waking up. And Julian brought up a really good point, and he put in the newsletter. When you look at probably some of the worst ones are obviously slavery, 1619, and you had the Jewish Holocaust. If think about it, if you could have gone back in time and given those slaves or the Africans that were turned into slaves a way for them to defend themselves, right? You could have stopped the genocide. Or if you gone back to the 1930s and stopped Hitler from being able to take away the guns from the Jewish people, you could stop the genocide. And what we want to do is we want to make sure now, because you can't go back in time. Yep. You can only live in the era that you're born in, right? Yep. And we just want to make sure everyone can remain free, and that is spreading as much freedom as possible. But that means fighting the fight on the legal side. I feel like it's something that, we've been honored with the business from the American people. They've given us their dollars, and we have to fight for them.
So Jamin, Julian, and Ed, thank you guys for coming on. It was good talking to you guys. I'm glad people get to see who's behind JJE, who's behind PSA, what we're doing here, spreading freedom on a daily basis. So again, I appreciate you guys coming on. To check out more about PSA and JJE, head on over to our social media channels. And if you want to see more, like, comment, subscribe below. Let us know what you want to see next. All right, everyone, that concludes our mini-series about JJE, Palmetto State Armory, all of our sister companies. We went through and tried to show you guys everything that we're doing here, where we're at, where we're heading, talking about the future of what we're trying to achieve here by protecting your constitutional rights and continuing to spread freedom that we do here on a daily basis. If there's anything else you guys want us to show you that you didn't see in this video, or if you wanted to go a little bit more in depth that wasn't shown in the mini-series, let us know. Comment below. Let us know what you want to see. We're glad to show you guys what we're working on. Thanks again for staying tuned to our mini-series. We appreciate everyone staying up to date on what we're doing here at JJE and Palmetto State Armory.